What is up, everybody? My name is Graham. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Redstone Craft. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we're looking at the floor. That's it, that's the episode. Beautiful floor. You can see very many different textures. I'm obviously joking. We're here at the block district because today we're building two different farms. Now, what we're farming today isn't particularly useful outside of decoration, and this farm over here already produces it. Granted, at a slower pace and at a much more expensive cost. So I want specific farms to this so I don't have to run the major tree farm every time I want a little nether bush. And what we're farming today is every single kind of nether plant outside of regular nether wart, because we're farming that differently. And we're also not going to be farming the weeping vine. We are going to farm the twisting one, not the weeping one. We will be making a weeping vine farm at a later date, but for now we're going to farm a bunch of nether plants, and in order to do so, we have our resources right here in this shulkers. But first we need to jump into a creative world so I can show you guys the farms. So let's do that really quick and cue in the time-lapse at the same time, so you know, our usual MO in this channel. So let's get this party rolling. Okay guys, so we're here in Rayworks world, and if you guys recognize this, we've actually been here before. Here's the magma farm, etc. And today we're looking at these two farms right here. Together they will farm every single one of the nether plants. So we're going to start the bigger ones since it takes a lot longer, it's a lot more complicated to explain. And then we'll go over the small one and why we need it. So this farm right here is a shifting floor farm. And if I turn it on, you actually have to turn it on in two different places. First you turn on the bone meal machine, and then you turn on the water. And you can see it will start producing. There you go. You can see it's bone mealing them. It has a dispenser down here filled with bone meal, and it's bone mealing the two blocks, so it's actually doing two of them, not just one. The red and the green that alternate. And it's spawning everything, and once in a while, once this clock finishes, it will power the water and it will make it run down with stuff. Now the farm itself is pretty simple. It's just this module up here. Actually, let's start with the shifting floor module since that one is easier. Let me just clear this out really quick. And there you go. Okay, so the shifting floor is really simple. It's toggled on and off through here, and right now this is locked, so these pistons are forward, and this thing right here is turned off, because should be... Oh wait, no, this is the other way around, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a redstone block right there. You can see this redstone block right here. When it's pushed back, it will light this up, and it will actually do two things. Firstly, it will power the bone meal dispenser. Secondly, it will power this and make it push across. So if I unpower this, we're actually going to see this in action. 1 second. You need to unpower both of these to see them in action, I believe. Yep. So you can see that when it comes down, it pushes, it bone meals, and it pushes this back. Now to stop this, you can simply do that. And let's really quickly wait for the water to actually clean this off. On this side, you have a similar arrangement, whereas it comes down here and it also comes up here, and you can see right now it's turned on. And it's this back and forward that enables not only the bone meal, but the shifting floors to break it. Because you can bone meal these two blocks here in the middle, and then if you move around, you'll break them, and they will drop. Now finally we have the water system. Now what this water system does, it has a hopper clock here, and the hopper clock is configured with about 23 items. There you go. And what it does is, once it comes through here, it's gonna, so once the items shift to one side, it's gonna power this off, and these trapdoors are gonna go down. And when they do, the water flows. These are waterlogged trapdoors. This is just the bone meal chest, I believe. And once it powers this, it's also going to come all the way through here. And this way it will actually toggle on and off. So if we turn this off, you can see it powered off, and then it started this repeater and it'll power on. It'll also turn these pistons on. I believe these are sort of the debuggy pistons for zero ticking the pistons below them. So, you know, not too bad. And it also has a torch on this side. It doesn't have one on this side, but it does have one on this side to make sure this is pushed. So you can lock the mechanism. If you lock this, it will lock the mechanism, which is good. So this is the simple farm, and what happens is the drops are pushed by the water that is activated via that clock. They're pushed down here, they hit the fence, go into the water stream, all the way around, again drop, and then down here is a very smart thing. Now, we usually don't do systems like this, we just drop them into hoppers and let the hoppers deal with them, but this farm produces a lot of stuff, so things are moved around by water. And they'll drop through here, and they'll immediately start going here. Now, if I actually do F3B... Oh, I forgot... I forgot blocks don't show their hitboxes. Anyway, you can see that the cake hitbox isn't entire. So what's going to happen is the items are actually going to go through, and they're going to sort of go right up against it. Whoops, I should not have eaten that cake. Please do not eat the cakes. And then they'll keep going, and they'll pass just in this border so they can actually be picked up by the hoppers, and at the same time still have the speed of the ice and be pushed by the water. So this is a pretty ingenious way of doing it. And you can see that this is creating a circle. That's because if I turn the farm on again, so let's just quickly turn this on, you'll quickly see that this is going to produce a lot of items. Some of them are already dropping, but that isn't the big thing. The big deal should come around sometime soon. Preferably, there you go. So water. And you can see this is a lot of items. And fact is, the hoppers won't be able to keep up with this. So what this stream does is it just lets them go around. And by going around, it will just infinitely loop them until they get picked up by one of those hoppers. And this is a way of not wasting any items, not having them despawn, and not having to worry about the hopper limitations. So it's a pretty smart system. We're probably going to employ it once we do bigger sorting systems. The only annoying thing about the farm is that we have to toggle it on and off at 2 different places. But I might try to work at that to fix it. And yeah, down here we just have our regular sorting system. And you can see this farm produces warped roots, crimson roots, a lot of those, twisting vines, crimson fungus, warped fungus. And I don't know what this is. I assume it's just empty. Nether sprouts. Well, it's actually not going to be able to produce nether sprouts because nether sprouts have to be gathered by yourself. And that's where our second farm comes in, because you can get all of these things here, and we will, but there is one more plant that shows up. And let me try collecting all of these so I can show it to you guys. Okay, we had a crimson harvest, I guess. But I can actually... Yeah, let's look at this farm. So there's one more plant, which is these nether sprouts, and they only exist for the warped variation. There's no nether, like red variation. And that's where this little cubic farm here comes in. Now, here you are required to have a player with shears, and you can see you also have a bone meal going into a dispenser, going into a warped Nylium block. Now you could have crimson there, but I think the warp... Actually, no, you can't, because if you want the warped, the nether sprouts... Nether sprouts, is that what it's called? Yeah, nether sprouts. It has to be on warped Nylium. So you put a warped Nylium block, you have a piston right over here, and then you have this little system. Now, what happens here is, if you turn this on, you'll see it will power this. But since this is in subtract mode, it will actually tick instead of being fully powered. And then it will transfer the power through here, through here, through here. And this, every time it touches this repeater right here, the observer, sorry, I'm losing words today. The observer will catch it, and it will power not only the dispenser, but the piston. And what you're supposed to do is get over here, come into survival, and I like pointing over there because you're not going to break the mushrooms, but that's not really what you're here for. So you can just stand right here, break it up, and at some point you will see that we actually got one there. They just went into the hopper and said, there you go, I got one. But if you look, whoops, into the chest, you can see I already have a bunch of stuff, and most of these things can be broken by the piston itself, so you don't have to. The only thing that can't is this nether sprouts, which is really what we're after, because, you know, everything else we've also found elsewhere. But yeah, that is the wrong game mode. So this farm is really simple. You can see, I'm actually going to turn it off because this is going to annoy me if it's on all the time. You can see it's really simple. You place the Nilium block, you place hoppers around it coming into a chest. Slab here is for you to stand on. 3 blocks. A block, piston, I'm pretty sure it can be sticky, but you shouldn't waste slime on it. Dispenser, hopper, chest for bone meal, and down here you have this little circuit, so you have your observer pointing this way, if I can actually do it properly. I'm gonna regret that, yeah. Okay, so it's probably a better idea to do it like this. Placing observers to this day is so annoying. And then like that. And that should be facing. And then you can just dump the bone meal in there. And yeah, little system. This is in subtract mode, so be sure to remember that. And both of these are in 4 ticks. This is to give you enough time to actually harvest it, because if it wasn't in 4 ticks, it would be too fast. So yeah, that's it. This is a very simple farm. And this is a bit more complicated, but as you can see, the circuit isn't anything special. I guess a few things to point out. All these repeaters are in 4 ticks all the way through here, so it gives you significant delay. In the meanwhile, none of the repeaters down here are at 4 ticks, I believe. Yep, they're all at 1 tick. And yeah, make sure you place the redstone blocks right there. And I think that's pretty much it. You have your regular hopper clock. I think we've built like a dozen of these by now. Also make sure your redstone is in like the big mode, not the dot mode, because otherwise it doesn't work. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And they also use trapdoors just to, you know, be able to place another water. And yeah, I really do think that's it. I think we can go back to Redstone Craft and see how these turned out over there. So, shall we? Okay guys, so it's been about an hour. I've been building this stuff up. It's not too hard to build, just this big one took me a while because I was comparing it between this and the creative world and all that. This little one is really easy to build. My only difference is I slabbed everything because I don't want mobs spawning in the block central district. So, you know, it's all slab, but it does work. And if I actually power this on, we should be able to just AFK here. And yeah, there you go. Just continuously AFK. I haven't actually AFK'd at this one yet, but you can see that it's working, and then I can power it off, and we already have a few nether sprouts and some extra blocks that fell in here. And in here, I also already set up all of our filters, so we have 4 chests for these. Where are the rest? 4 chests for these. This is the vines chest, I haven't gotten any yet. 1 for warped fungi, 1 for crimson fungi, and 1 for nether sprouts. They should never appear, but in case they do. And you might also notice that there's a little something back here. This was my solution to the 2 toggle switches. This way we only have 1. So right now the farm is turned off, and this is just a redstone torch tower that goes up there and powers that, and at the same time comes through here and powers that. I just ran a redstone line, nothing fancy, but it does allow me to basically open and close it at the same time, and it should now be working. I'm actually starving, 1 second. Let's come up here and take a look. Yep, you can see that it is working. And this actually produces a lot. Like, it already produced like 3 stacks of the red, of the warped roots, and probably 4 stacks of the red ones. They're just spread out. But yeah, it produced a lot of stuff for being on for a good, what, 30 seconds while I was testing it. So I'm honestly really happy. I don't think we're going to make too much use of these blocks, but again, we're in the quest to farm everything, and our block district is starting to show itself. I'm leaving little corridors so I can walk. So I'm not going to put a farm here. If I could, I would have probably put this a little closer, but I didn't know the exact size. This place is going to get a farm though. And yeah, let's take an aerial look at this. I'm really curious. It looks that cool. Like this nether corner here looks really cool. And we actually have to update the maps. Now I believe my last map was updated of all these farms. Let us see. Yep, it had all of them. And now if I go into here, get a map, get a glass pane, and just load it. There you go. Now we have 2 more farms. I know I should have done 1 each, but it's fine. Nether plants. There you go. Nether plants, locked map. And I guess we can put it up here. Make use of all of this. You can see right there are 2 nether plants farms in Dart Block District, and yeah, I'm really happy with this. Honestly, those farms are sort of really cool. They will use a lot of bone meal. Like, I had a hard time finding bone meal for this, but the good thing is I could actually transform most of these drops into bone meal if I wanted to. Which sounds dumb, but it's actually not considering the amount of drops this actually gets. And I could also possibly turn all of those into bone meal and just keep like the woods. So yeah, we're gonna think about that. We're probably gonna have to make a bone meal farm at some point in time, but not as of right now. But yeah, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. It was a blast to record these. I missed recording buildings of farms because we've just been fixing stuff and doing random things. But it's good to come back and do some redstone. And yeah, we have a lot more farms to come. Next episode, we're going to tackle another nether farm and another in the episode after, I believe. I have my plannings down, but I don't know them by heart. So we still have a lot to do. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I sincerely hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, make sure to hit along and subscribe to the channel. That's it for today, folks. I'm out. Peace.